Okay, looks like it's about time to bring us to the regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. We'll start with roll call.
Chairman Dana Hennis,
Present.
Vice Chairman Brian Clark,
Present.
Commissioner Jeannie Greger,
Present.
Commissioner Jim Main,
Present.
Commissioner Bobby Rossadillo.
Present.
Thank you. First thing up is the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. First up will be the public hearing, case number 24-01-SUP, special use permit for the Giraffe Laugh Daycare.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to excuse myself from this vote.
Thank you. Staff?
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Doug Hansen, CUNA Planning and Zoning, 751 West 4th Street, CUNA, Idaho. The applicant requests special use permit approval to operate a child care facility within the Boys and Girls Club located at 470 West Mendy Place, which is currently under construction. Giraffe Laugh will be located within the approved 27,000 square foot Boys and Girls Club facility, which was approved as case number 23-04-DR. No exterior additions or modifications will be made as a result of this application. Upon review, staff finds the application to be in compliance with CUNA City Code Title V, the Comprehensive Plan, Future Land Use Map, and Idaho Code. Staff recommends the Commission approve case number 24-01-SUP, with the applicant being subject to the conditions of approval listed in staff's report. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Nope. Okay, is the applicant here to do any, is there, would you like to further on that at all? Come on up. When you come on up, go ahead and just press the base of the microphone, the light to green. There you go, and state your name and address for the record.
I'm Lori Facilla, and my address is 932 East Riversong Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. I want to thank the commissioners and the city of CUNA citizens for listening today. As I said, I'm Lori Facilla, and I am the executive director of Giraffe Laugh, and I've been with Giraffe Laugh for 33 years. And it's been my honor and pleasure to be a part of so many wonderful families during those years, many of whom were once children, now bringing their own children to our centers. Giraffe Laugh Early Learning Centers have served thousands of young children and their families since 1989 in Boise and Garden City. Because of a partnership with the club in Garden City, we're now able to join in on this project to serve the community of CUNA. And we really couldn't be more thrilled to provide a continuum of care from birth through 18 in one place for families and children. Since the pandemic, Idaho has lost over 385 child care locations, and CUNA was not immune to the same closures. Seeing an opportunity to invest in Idaho's workforce, Governor Little and the Idaho legislature set aside $15 million to invest in child care seat expansion throughout the state, especially in more rural areas. Giraffe Laugh was awarded some of that funding along with the Boys and Girls Club to ensure that every person who wants or needs to work has a quality place for their child. We have collectively partnered with CS Beef Packers as one of our workforce partners, along with St. Luke's, to ensure they have the workforce they need in order to run at full capacity. When child care providers don't work, their parents cannot work. This opportunity to strengthen one of the fastest growing bedroom communities that is a true treasure in our valley is both critical and exciting, to say the least, especially for those of us who love providing for families and employers. Giraffe Laugh is different from other child care centers because we're a nonprofit. Our mission is to ensure school readiness, empower families, and build strong futures. And it's with this in mind that we deliberately locate near areas that might need our services more than others. Giraffe Laugh engages in quality rating system called Idaho Stars and holds a 5-star rating at our other 4 programs. while providing access to underserved children. Well over half of our parents are not able to afford a quality program, and our scholarships make that possible. So no child is turned away unless we're literally out of room for them. Nearly 100% of our preschoolers are ready and prepared for kindergarten when they arrive, meaning the readiness rate in Idaho of only 50% entering school prepared is impacted greatly by a quality program accessible to those who need it most. The incredible convenience for families to bring their child to one place for care means more family time for everyone and more opportunities for families to meet and build on the community that is really already wonderful here in CUNA. We're accustomed to working with two different cities and systems in terms of licensing, requirements to operate, inspections by health and the fire departments, and training requirements to maintain individual licenses while upholding quality. This process is familiar and welcome to us. We know that this partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, workforce partners, and the City of CUNA will result in wonderful outcomes for children and families, as we've been able to do in Garden City and Boise at our other 4 programs currently operating. I just want to tell you how excited we are, and we thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any questions for the applicant? No.
I have a question. Are you intending on working with the CUNA School District in regards to being able to make sure that the preschoolers meet the CUNA School District requirements for kindergarten?
We definitely will. We already do that in our other 2 communities. That is a vital part of our role, so thank you for mentioning it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I will go ahead and open the public testimony at 6:07. And I will start on the list here. First up in the category of in favor is Lori Facilla. Sorry. And next up is Cassandra Wagner. You didn't mark whether you wanted to testify or not.
I think she said everything I would add, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up to testify is Robbie Reno.
Robbie Reno, CUNA School District, 711 East Porter Street, CUNA, Idaho, 82634. No, our district is in full support of this because of a lot of things that she mentioned, but also not only our staff need childcare too, and we know that this community is suffering for it, and so we are in very huge support of it, and also the collaboration to get kids ready for kindergarten, and that's a vital part of child development, and it helps elevate our community for that. And so the CUNA School District is in full support of this special use permit.
Great, thank you. Next up is Tim Gordon.
My name's Tim Gordon. Our address is 2598 West CUNA Road here in CUNA. And we've been supporters of the Boys and Girls Club going on 18 years now. And we are just really excited because when we first started planning, we didn't have anything for preschool, and Giraffe Laugh really fills in that component of it. And we just really welcome them, and we suggest we support the approval.
Thank you. Belinda, did you want to testify anything at all? Okay. And last in the in favor column is Brenda Blitman.
Brenda Blitman, 8460 South Locust Grove Road, Meridian, Idaho, 83642. And I'm here in favor of this project. And I was involved with the neighborhood meeting, and there were 2 issues brought up at the neighborhood meeting. One issue was the traffic that will go through the subdivision, and the Boys and Girls Club has a traffic study that was submitted as part of our original package that included information from ACHD that the roads had the capacity to handle the traffic for the whole Boys and Girls Club and the child care facility. And the second issue was about neighbors' concern about their housing prices being reduced. And I talked to two realtors. One realtor submitted a letter that's in your package, and the other realtor told me that they, in their experience of selling hundreds of houses in Ada County, that they haven't seen the close proximity of a facility like the Boys and Girls Club to be a detriment. In fact, for them, it was a positive. So those were the two concerns that came out of the public hearing, and I've submitted information to you for those two items. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up on the list is Robert Checketts. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robert Checketts, and I am here in opposition of the Giraffe Laugh special use permit. So I just want to start, just by saying, I would like the commission to refer to the zoning code 563, especially items C, D, E, G, and H. The proposed use is in clear violation of these provisions of the code, and the commission should strongly consider recommending city council to reject and deny the use of this application. The 563 general standards applicable to all special use. The Planning and Zoning Commission shall review and particular facts and circumstances of each proposed special use in terms of the following standards, and shall have adequate evidence showing such use at the proposed location. Okay? C is, will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be harmonious with appropriate appearance and existing or intended character of the general vicinity of such, will not change the essential character of the same area. D is, will not be hazardous or disturbing to the existing or future neighboring uses. E is, will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services such as highways, streets, police, fire protection, drainage, refuge, water, sewer, schools, etc. Okay? G, will not involve use, activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any person's property or general welfare of reason of excessive production, traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glare, odors. H, will have vehicular approaches to the property which shall be designed as not to create an interference with the traffic on the surrounding public thoroughfares. So to item C, the proposed will change the essential character of the surrounding areas. Butler subdivision was developed as a low-density, single-family resident. Many Place was not designed to participate or to support the anticipated traffic usage related to the Boys and Girls Club and the Giraffe Laugh Daycare. Item D, the proposed use will disturb the existing neighboring uses. E, the proposed use will impose a public burden on the existing infrastructure. At a minimum, this commission should recommend a secondary public access point. Regarding item G, the proposed use violates the clear intent of 563G. Regarding H, the proposed use violates the clear intent of 563H. We recommend that the applicant produce an updated, current traffic study, civil landscape plans for the public review, and confirm the proposed use will not be in detriment of the community or the neighboring properties. I have strong concerns about the traffic impact of the air quality, health concerns resulting from the increased car pollution resulting from the proposed use. I think the public deserves the right to evaluate the traffic overflow and the planned traffic flow for drop-off and pickup times at the proposed facility. Last, I am in the opinion that the civil design should include a secondary access, preferably coming off of Boise Avenue or Linder Road, but at the minimum coming off of Hyssop. I live 500 feet from the front door of this facility that's being put up. I've already experienced minimum 30 trucks a day right now through construction, which we were told in a public meeting that they would not be using this as their public entrance for their construction site. All construction would be coming in the backside of this project, which is not even a road now, and is proposed to be a road for the future of this Boys and Girls Club. So by adding another 50 times 2 cars that'll be dropped off and picked up every day, is going to increase even more of the traffic flows on this single lane road that comes into our subdivision. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And last up is Barbara Checkins.
My name is Barbara Checketts at 565 Mindy Place, Kuna, Idaho 83634. I have been informed that the Giraffe Laugh Early Learning Center is requesting a special use permit to operate their childcare in the Boys and Girls Club facility. My main concern is that this is going to create additional traffic along with the potential 1,200 members of the club. The Boys and Girls Club always downplay about the traffic issues. Their defense is that the children will be walking. Therefore, we will not have any additional traffic. The Giraffe Laugh Childcare will have children from 6 weeks to 5 years of age. I would assume that the infants and toddlers will need to be picked up and dropped off. This, without a doubt, will create over 50 extra cars to be driven in Butler Subdivision, West Mindy Street. Butler Subdivision consists of single-car driveways. Therefore, the neighborhood has many cars that are parked on both sides of the road, which create a very narrow path to drive. The street's infrastructure was not built to handle the traffic that a commercial business would create on a daily basis. The Boys and Girls Club like to brag about being a good neighbor. I don't believe the way that they blindsided us with adding this childcare to their organization is very neighborly. They have known from the beginning, 2009, that the residents of Butler Subdivision wanted to have an entrance off of a main road, such as Boise Street or Linder Road, instead of solely on West Mindy Street, a subdivision. The traffic is our concern. And now we learn that they're adding a daycare to the club, therefore adding even more traffic. That is not being very considerate to the good folks at Butler Subdivision. I do not appreciate the way that they sucker punched us with this addition to the club. What will they add next to their facility? I'm requesting that this special use permit to be denied. I believe that this should not be allowed until we know where and when we will have an additional entrance that can handle the traffic of 1,200 cars from the club and the 50 cars from the daycare. I also want to bring to your attention the zoning code 5, 6, and 3, and items C, D, E, G, and H. The proposed use is in violation of the provision of the code, and the commission should strongly consider a recommendation to the City Council to reject and deny the special use permit for Giraffe Laugh Daycare. I would also like to mention the letter from Jeff Miller from Initial Point Real Estate, claiming that his opinion that the Boys and Girls Club would not depreciate the value of the homes in Butler Subdivision, but increase the value. Well, I do not agree with Jeff Miller's statement, because I have seen with my eyes what has happened to the homes around the Meridian Club and the area around the Garden City Club. I actually know somebody that lived in Meridian back next to the club, and they have now moved because of the traffic. Most of the business around the club are no longer residents, but they're all business. The place in Garden City is basically commercial and large apartments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I see everybody on the list has been up. Is there anybody that has come in since we started this application that has, or would like to testify on this application? Okay, and seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing, or public testimony at 6:19. And that brings up our discussion, well, I guess, do we have, the applicant would like to rebut at all to any of those? Okay, thank you. And that'll bring our deliberation up. I guess to start off with, I'll start while you guys think. You know, I've been in support of this for a long time, but have been concerned about the one access. And I believe that, I mean, there's really no way to put another road in on this. And that's some of the stuff that we faced early on with the Boys and Girls Club initial package. I believe ACHD had some specific requirements about why it couldn't tie to the other subdivision, and the other properties have not been developed and not at all in order to provide any other access. So although another access would be nice, there's just no physical ability to at this point. Not to say that there won't be in the future. So, Doug, did you, or staff, did you have any input on the special use section that was referenced? Before I say anything?
For the record, Doug Hansen, Keno Planning and Zoning staff. The Giraffe Lab Child Care Facility was always intended to be a component of the Boys and Girls Club. It's not going to make any exterior modifications or alterations to the site that don't already exist or aren't already approved.
And they were in the initial application, just not named per se.
Yeah, so they were a component of the initial application. However, another special use permit approval is required by our official land use regulations for child care facilities.
Right, so this was always a component early on, but I just don't remember if they were named, but I know the daycare was all part of it.
That's correct.
And all the traffic study, although it may have been done a few years ago, nothing has changed over there. There's no new
Yep, so
subdivisions.
there was a traffic study in 2011 when the project initially came forward as a part of the comprehensive plan map amendment, development agreement, and rezone. And then ACHD also provided comments on the Boys and Girls Club project.
Exactly. And that was all based on the future childcare within the facility.
That's correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you. So with that, I mean, some of the whole purpose of that special use permit is to put a facility in an area where it's not really relevant. Putting a bowling alley in a subdivision, something, something like that. A daycare facility and a children's after-school facility kind of is perfect in a subdivision. It does increase some traffic. It has been addressed by the Ada County Highway District. It still complies as far as the numbers, which I understand how that goes, but they have that responsibility to upkeep that. Otherwise, this information's been there since the beginning. We've closed the public hearing, but we have that on record, thank you.
Is that acreage, the acreage that's being farmed right now, is that currently?
For the record, Doug Hansen, Keno Planning and Zoning staff, there have been talks with that property owner to develop the property. The property as a whole, a component of the Boys and Girls Club site being a part of that, all came in under an application in 2008, but since there are no plans to develop it. However, ACHD has actually reserved space along Linder Road for a prescribed access to match up with Porter across the street, so that when eventually that property does develop, there's already an access point to Linder Road, and as a component of the Boys and Girls Club project, they'll be prepared to stub into that development when it does develop.
Now, it looks from the limited graphics that I've got in front of me here that this will be an extension of Mendy Place, fronting the Boys and Girls Club. That's not going to go straight into a driveway off of Mendy, is it?
If I could just hop in, for the record, Doug Hansen, Keno Planning and Zoning. There really aren't any traffic considerations to be had with this application because this purely is just for the special use permit to operate the child care facility. But the direct connection to the public right-of-way will be Mendy Place, and then there will be an emergency access off of Hyssop Avenue to the north.
Okay. Are there any road improvements that are coming with this? I guess that's what I'm really asking. Are they extending the right-of-way within that parcel?
For the record, Doug Hansen, Keno Planning and Zoning staff, the Boys and Girls Club has installed an entire crossing over the Teed lateral to the property from Mendy.
Okay. That's right. Well, the reason I ask is, if Porter gets extended in the future, is there a road for it to go to that's part of the frontage that'll complete Mendy Place? Mendy will blend into Porter, or is it gonna be just separate improvements that are gonna go to a separate spot? Because I'm just looking at it, it almost looks like the Mendy Place would, so if there's not any right of reservation, there's no right of way reservation. That's all I'm really asking.
Okay.
I just wasn't privy to the original application, so.
Right.
Okay.
I was trying to see if there was any, I don't think we had anything in this.
For the record, Doug Hanson, CUNA Planning and Zoning staff, aside from the prescribed access to the Porter alignment, all of that will be an internal road network that will be highly subject to the commercial uses that would come in as a component of the future project.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. Okay.
So again, tonight, like he said, is,
Special use.
we're talking about the special use permit for that. So that has to do with section 563, like the Checketts had brought up. But whether that is in agreement or disagreement with that section is kind of what we have to look at, not so much the effects, or, the traffic and things.
Right.
That was all dealt with at the original application. But I think because of that, in my opinion, I think a lot of this is still valid. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, it goes back to the design review, when everything was approved in there. And now we're just looking at a special use, which just allows for the use of a daycare. So, there's really not a whole lot that we have to go back on.
Correct.
It's, the site was approved during the design review. And now we're looking at basically operating a daycare facility out of there. And as far as daycare facilities go, I think we're in a situation where we need daycares. One question I may have for the applicant is, how many students are we talking about?
Could you come up to so we can have it on record? Thank you. And if you could again state your name and address.
Yes, I'm Lori Facilla with Giraffe Laugh Early Learning Centers. I live in Eagle, Idaho. And we will probably have about 50 to 55 students there. But what I want people to keep in mind is that those cars will not be filled with just one child. So there will be maybe a toddler, an infant, and a first grader. So, typically families come as a group, and so every child doesn't translate to one vehicle. And if they do live in the neighborhood, we're hoping that they'll walk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other concerns or questions, discussion?
No, I think, the Boys and Girls Club typically, excepting in the summer hours, they're active after 3 p.m. Daycare usage would put those 50 cars a day max in the, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. range. So it's not a stacked use. So, from a traffic standpoint, especially with the previous approval.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna have the start and stop times like a general school does.
Yeah. And they're also gonna be staggered drop-offs in a lot of those cases. So. Yeah, I don't wanna discount the concerns of the neighbors, but at the same time,
No, and we're hoping that as the development proceeds in those areas, that it will help alleviate some of this.
okay.
I guess I'll say as a grandmother with young preschoolers, the need for daycare in this town is critical. And the need for quality daycare is super critical. So bringing in Giraffe Laugh will provide a preschool and a daycare that's quality. It'll help prepare CUNA to excel when those kids reach kindergarten. This is just an awesome thing for this community.
No, I agree. It's a good program. With that, I would stand for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve case numbers 24-01 SUP.
I'll second that.
With the conditions as stated in the,
As, with the conditions as stated, as outlined in the staff report.
thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, and we look forward to your program. Thank you. Thank you very much. With that, I have nothing further on the agenda. Is there any comment or reports from staff?
Just a quick announcement. We do have a vacancy on our ad hoc future land use map advisory committee for an Ada County resident who lives within CUNA's ACI. So anybody who fits that description is welcome to apply.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.